Lady, the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
For some reason, before I came here, I rewatched Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
That's terrible.
It's not a good movie.
Fuck you guys.
We were barely holding on to the cool Scott Summers parts. And even then, there aren't a lot.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they cut out like half of the Xavier walking scene, and that's what I came for.
I think when you watched it the first time, you just sort of zoned into that's what was happening. So you experienced the time longer. And that now that it's like maybe the second or third time you're watching the movie, it just goes by quicker because your memory fills it in.
I just watched it the other day and it was like it wasn't as long as I thought.
Yeah.
And when I say that Dark Phoenix isn't a good movie, I'm not saying Dark Phoenix is a bad movie. I'm saying it's worse than a bad movie. Dark Phoenix, nothing happens.
What do you mean nothing happens?
She becomes the Phoenix.
But
a lot happens.
It is like
not really
angry about it.
Dazzler sings in that movie.
For like 5 seconds.
In the background.
Climax.
But she makes some lights.
Just because you climax doesn't
It's a double entendre. Yeah, you caught it.
That's what we were just talking about.
In the stupid periscope, I can't get over how dumb the periscope is. And they give it to you right away. They're like, just so you know, we put this scene in to let you know this movie's not good.
And that was one of the things, though, where I'm like, well, okay.
I liked it.
I mean, you think arguably, right? Scott has amazing power to just shoot shit and blow it up. And he can't use his power while he's inside of a jet because, he'd blow up the jet. They can't just open a window. So they got like a weird ruby quartz reflective periscope thing.
Does it sound any better to you as you're trying to convince yourself, or
I'm saying it's the best possible thing they could have came up with. It's still silly.
How about a plane that fires lasers?
Yeah, well, lasers cost money.
Exactly.
Is that the one lesson you took away from Star Wars?
Do not.
Xavier saw him and was like, "Oh fuck, free lasers."
Exactly.
They're not lasers.
I know.
Free punches.
Free red punch.
Oh, yeah. That's the oldest thing I can think of.
That's cooler. That Hawaiian punch. Anyway, welcome to this issue of Mex-Men. I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be covering part 6 of All New X-Men. We'll be covering issues 26 through 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm Brand.
Yeah. We didn't just figure that out.
I hate you guys.
Current news, though, because of...
What's going on? Is there a thing going on?
Something.
Because of Corona. That's Modelo, right?
Yeah.
Because of Corona, you bought lines.
They're moving the New Mutants movie to
where?
A digital release.
You know what I think it is? Because of Trolls.
Because of Trolls?
Like
the movie?
The internet people?
No, because
it made so much money?
Trolls did so much money digitally. They were thinking, made so much money digitally. They were thinking, well, shit, we don't need the theaters, I guess.
Well, not just that. I mean, Disney released Onward. That would have been like their big fucking CG.
Well, Onward was out for like a week, and then Corona hit.
So it was already in the theaters.
But barely.
Yeah, it's like a week.
So barely.
Yeah, but still, it's kind of weird to pull it and then put it back in the theaters after half the people already saw it.
Well, I don't think they pulled it from theaters. The theaters were pulled.
If anything, the theaters were pulled from them. If anything, though, you'd think like they would get more sales because there would have been people like, oh, you got to see that movie. It was awesome. Like they're vouching for the movie, having already saw it, almost like it was pre-screened, except they made a bunch of movie from a quote-unquote pre-screen.
Yeah, but that's where most of the money comes from, the initial release.
Yeah, and they get to initially release twice. Or would have, but they,
all the people who wanted to see it already
I'm just saying, any money is better than no money, and they got less money by
I just want to see the goddamn movie.
releasing it.
I just want to see... No,
It's
not
on
Onward. I just want to see...
It's a fantastic movie.
I just want to see New Mutants.
I want to see it in the theater.
Two brothers go to find their father, and really they find themselves.
Are they in a van?
Yeah, they are.
Do tomato monsters attack?
No.
Are there Mexican Armada tomato monster grandmas?
No.
Sounds like a tongue twister over here.
You guys don't... Do you not watch Rick and Morty?
Nope.
Two brothers in a van.
Is that season 4 stuff?
No, this is like season 1 or 2.
It's been a while.
It's the fake movie commercials that they do, where it's like this giant improvised movie that they do.
It's been a long time since I watched Rick and Morty.
Same episode as Ants in My Eyes Johnson. I don't think you've ever watched Rick and Morty.
Fuck you. Yeah, I have. Just not like over and over again. I probably haven't watched Rick and Morty since like 2018.
So you're pretty much caught up. They come up with the season like
exactly. Yeah, I watched
so
season 3.
You missed a couple episodes.
Yeah, I watched all of season 3 and I was like, oh, that was awesome. And then Pickle Rick. Yeah, I saw that.
So Nubians.
Yeah,
so X-Men.
So we'll see it.
So that's what I think.
Eventually.
Well, Justin won't.
No, I'll see it, but that's my guess. That the reason they ultimately decided to do that was because Trolls sold so much money. Jesus, made so much money.
They just were selling money.
Yeah, they were selling money.
$5, $2.
But yeah, because they were kind of like surprised, I think. Because really, I think it's kind of garbage. Trolls is all like, oh, we sold 3 times the amount.
Yeah, because they were the only movie that came out. And,
yeah,
and people wanted
Bad Boys. All the movies that were in theaters. But what they did was they transitioned to where you could buy them at kind of an upcharge. You couldn't rent them.
It's like $20.
And then after a while, then they like released it to be rented for a lower price. So they were still trying to like make bank off the initial hype of the movie.
Some of them were renting out for like $20 just because
20.
they were like currently in the theaters.
Yeah.
And then some were like a little bit more and you can buy it. Like New Mutants, what I've read is it's supposed to be like $26 for you to buy it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I saw on Amazon. But it's, I don't know, Trolls, you can't really compare it to Trolls. That's a kid's movie.
Yeah, all kids' movies should be home releases.
Well, I mean, all the kids are at home. You got to think about it. School's closed. All the kids are at home. You got all the non-essential workers or whatever there with their kids.
And their parents are probably like, shut the fuck up. Anything to shut them the fuck up.
You will get Trolls. We will get all the Trolls.
Trolls is your teacher now.
Yeah. Leave me alone. The TV was their teacher anyway.
So I think that's why it sold so much, and they kind of judged that because we had the whole beef between AMC. Like they're rap battling and shit.
Yeah, but anybody's gonna sell pretty well right now because people got stimulus check money and they have nothing but time.
Yeah, but Universal is fucked because I heard that that AMC they hired Nick Cannon to write their beefs.
Oh shit, they're done.
Yeah.
Well, did they hire the guy that Nick Cannon hired to write his?
So like other studios hire Eminem. And they just destroy him.
They're like, Eminem, we'll make 8 Mile 2.
Come talk about how you fucked Mariah.
But like did it while watching Trolls.
He's watching Trolls while he's deep inside our holes.
Oh, wow.
Did you guys see some of the new stills?
Yeah.
The new stills from New Mutants?
I'm trying not to look too much into it because I don't... I've heard from people... Because the same thing happened with like Last of Us 2, that like the stories are getting leaked for those everywhere, so I'm trying to avoid spoilers for them.
I'm weary too of like wary of like when a thing is sort of reshot or re-edited and they're like, oh, it's gonna be amazing now. I know you were like nervous before because Fox had the X-Men and then they did Dark Phoenix and you were like, oh man, New Mutants is gonna suck then, and then Marvel's like, no, we touched it and did some stuff. and it's different.
No, I swear the whole time that they were with Eddie Griffin.
I don't think they touched it, though.
That's a callback to something that's not even recorded. But then you have something like, what was it? Justice League, when they were like, oh, Joss Whedon's in, and he touched it up. That's why he's Me Too. So, but then it came out, and you were like, oh, all he did was like make Batman smile, and that was weird.
Well, he changed half the scenes from blue light to like bright orange, so it's not as sad, but there's a weird contrast in the whole movie.
I'm still convinced that his version's better until I see the Zack Snyder version.
The Zack Snyder version, I can't believe anybody has like released the Snyder cut because we've saw several movies that are Snyder cuts.
I know a lot of people are like that, and it's.
What are you talking about? Watchmen's fantastic.
No,
yeah, Watchmen. I love Watchmen.
Rorschach's awesome.
I love Watchmen.
Watchmen is a
and also movie. Watchmen came out like 14 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you made one movie for like,
Man of
Yeah,
Steel.
but if it's Watchmen,
that's like
14 years ago.
That's like if we brought up like the new Wachowski's movie, and you're like, but The Matrix.
That's like saying, I mean,
I don't know, man. Signs was
what's
dope.
Jesus done lately? He walked on water. He did some crazy, awesome stuff. I know
So
it was
Chris
like,
Angel walked on water.
Oh, gee. They said he'd come back.
still waiting on a sequel. Chris Angel walked on
He
water.
did.
Nah,
Just of a holy name too.
it was an illusion.
But yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to that because I don't think. I mean, Joss Whedon. What did he add? Some humor to that movie?
Sort of, because everyone was like complaining how they were so bleak and whatnot, and even the humor was like, that's what's funny. That
In my opinion, that was the best part of the movie because the shit was unsalvageable.
Yeah. But I saw
the funniest
some
part of the
people-
movie is watching Flash run.
It was watching Superman try to punch Flash. In my opinion, in that fight scene when Flash is running towards Superman and
Oh, and he sees him.
Superman's eyes move.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, but you said funny. That was fantastic, not funny.
It was a little humorous because then you see Flash's face
It's
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
shit,
no. Okay,
this guy's watching me.
Yeah, that he choke slammed that woman.
Yeah, that was the next scene, right?
Well, what I was gonna say is I saw these people arguing on Twitter about New Mutants coming out, and because somebody was trying to get a petition to sign to say like, hey, release the fucking movie, and a guy was like, just be patient and let them release it when they have time, so we'll get a better product. And everyone was like, it's fucking done. The movie's done.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been done.
It was supposed to come out Thursday.
Yeah, well. It was
Wasn't
supposed
it?
to come out Thursday of last year.
It was,
on Sunday.
I
3
thought it was
years
supposed to
ago.
come out last month.
The first trailer came out 3 years ago for the movie.
Didn't they announce Batman vs. Superman like 3 years before it came out?
Well, if you want to get real technical with it, there was like an Easter egg for
Like
it in
for
I
it.
Am Legend. So
In I Am
Really?
Legend?
yeah, there's a movie poster in the background. This is Batman vs Superman. So X-Men.
Yeah. X-Men. They're men with X genes and
Yeah.
women.
And their movies come out. Unless they're
The
Gambit.
mutant gene doesn't... Dude. Which, like, is he still signed to that movie? Channing Tatum?
I think technically, yes. But it's not coming out.
Are you sure? Disney brought on Channing Tatum and I can't even think of that dude's name. Deadpool.
Ryan
Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. I kept wanting to say Ryan Gosling, which is horrible.
You
I'm trying to think of, like, who Ryan Gosling would play.
Nobody. Hopefully nobody.
Angel.
I don't even
play
know.
Angel.
Yeah.
Warren?
He could play Angel, yeah. You're right.
I say no to that because if you cast Ryan Gosling as Angel, then you have to make Angel matter. And Angel shouldn't matter.
He should because
Why? He becomes Archangel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he matters that much, but not enough to be Ryan Gosling, because then we're getting the same scenario that we got with Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique.
He becomes death
I would
itself.
argue that
So you want Ryan Gosling's Angel to be the main character of the X-Men?
I think-
because that's what you're getting.
Yeah, I was about to say I think that Archangel matters more than Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, you do, but studios don't.
He was on, was it Remember the Titans? And he was a side character there.
I forget.
He's not buff enough.
But he's
I'm
not
gonna throw that out there, yeah.
Dude, what was that? Fuck.
No, cast.
There was a movie that came out with him and the guy who played in the Gladiator movie. That guy.
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell. And it was fantastic.
I want you to hear me out. On
Is
this
that Kurt? That's Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe.
I don't know who Kurt Russell was.
Older actor, yeah.
Kurt Russell is fucking Star-Lord's dad.
Fucking close, though, when you think about them.
Hear me out on this idea, though. All right, Ryan Gosling, cast him as Wolverine.
Oh.
And hear me out. Then get James Marsden back and cast Rachel McAdams as Jean Grey, and then boom, cuckold it again.
I say thee nay.
Oh, isn't that
the plot of the
Notebook?
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
Why did you make a reference to a movie none of us seen?
I had assumed you'd seen it.
No,
It's your type of movie.
it's not. Douche.
Either way, it's another way for James Marsden to get cuckolded again.
I tell you what, if it's James Marsden versus Ryan Gosling, that's not happening.
Gosling as Cyclops.
No.
You said he'd have to be the most important one, and that makes Cyclops have to be the
Just
most
don't have
important
Gosling. Just don't have Gosling.
Make him Doug.
Yeah, I can see him as Doug. He's not casting the New Mutants yet.
Doug is not ripped.
You know what? All right, for a
Both
second,
blonde?
Yes.
for a second, I couldn't
Continuity.
remember who you were talking about. My brain went to Ugly John. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be dope. Have James Marsden kill him?
Nah, he's iBoy. Fuck it.
Eyeboy.
Ryan Gosling's Eye-Boy?
Yeah.
So X-Men.
I can see him as Eye-Boy, too. Yeah, all right. So getting into issue 26.
16 minutes in.
Yeah. This starts weird because, all right, so Jean is the Phoenix and she's killed everyone except, no, it was a dream. It was a nightmare. She wakes up screaming.
Surprise.
And then in the doorway, there's a shadow figure with like a red streak for eyes. And she's like, Scott. And it's like, I am Scott.
It's the Terminator.
But not your Scott. But I am your Scott, if you catch my drift. But I'm not your Scott, if you also catch my drift.
I'm not your guy, pal.
Yeah. So, older Cyclops is there. And
Or the regular age Cyclops.
Yeah. He makes a point of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because she's like, oh, it's you, the first future version of you. And he's like, or like maybe the... Oh, yeah. This older, and he says regular.
Yeah, he thought it was a diss. Like, the older you. He's like, whoa.
This is my time.
I'm supposed to be 40.
Yeah.
Even though I think canonically he's like 32 or something.
Something like that.
He's like,
Either way,
like
too
27.
old.
Yes.
Too old.
Too old.
So, he kind of comforts her of like, yeah, I know that scream.
That was super fucking weird. I just got to point that out. He's like, oh, I heard you. I know that scream.
He winks at her, but she can't tell. Half the visor closes.
Like, yeah, the first time I read this, I didn't catch that. But the second time, I'm like, oh my God, that was really weird.
Dude, what if every time he has that like little optic smoke thing, it's like the effect of him doing a wink behind the visor?
See, I thought it was so much worse. Like he cries and it's a tear evaporating.
It's looking super badass, but he's just crying.
He's the epitome of a sad boy, even when he looks cool.
Like it's super intense moment, and he's like, but it's like it looks so badass.
So yeah, she sort of like they sort of start bonding about like how weird it was that the younger Scott sort of went off into space with his dad. And he even talks about how, like, he feels a little jealous of himself, and that's weird, right? And she's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And then she does a weird thing where she's like, man, or he brings up Hank, like, man, he really botched this one, huh? I hope he figures this thing out. And she's like, yeah, that's weird. It sucks that we can't go back in time and all, but, like, talking to you is nice. In fact, it's so nice that, like, you seem to be exactly the man I wish younger Scott would just grow up into. And he's like, stop you right there. No. No, not ever. Never. And she's like, okay. And he's like, no, not for real. Never. And she's like, I get it.
Not even the tip.
Not even the...
Yeah, he was like over the top. He was like, yeah, that's never. She's like, okay. He's like, I mean, ever.
He starts singing Taylor Swift.
But it was funny because he was saying like the stuff he would have dealt with differently in the past. He's like, I certainly would have dealt with you differently. And the way he said that, like, dealt with you differently,
Yeah.
like, I would have murdered you instantly.
Which is weird, too, because, like, you'd think she'd be offended by that. But if anything, it turned her on.
Yeah, well, it was supposed
Because
to.
she was like, oh, you're exactly what I wish my Scott was like.
Yeah.
Because she's so used to Beast just being involved with himself that anybody else just saying her name, she's like, oh, at least it's not Beast.
It was supposed to be like I would have handled our relationship differently, but the way he said it was like, yeah, I totally would have murdered you.
I think, but maybe also he's realizing like the younger version of him was too polite, too maybe prudish and stuff. Because I think that ties in later too with the Laura stuff. Oh, my bad.
Oh, you're good. I was going to say, like, because we brought up how she said, oh, I wish younger Scott, or you turned out to be what I hope younger Scott would be. But she puts her hand on his hand. And that's when he says, like, no, never. You know, she's, like, coming on to him.
Yeah. And then he leaves. He's like, hope you feel better. See you later. And right away, Kitty's like, so you like that, huh? You're proud of yourself? You did good? Never again. Never want to see you alone with her in the room.
He's like, she's waiting out there, and he's like, comes out. She's like, yeah, you're lucky that you turned her down this time. You're like, what? How am I in trouble?
Right?
I said no.
Yeah, she kind of went all off on him as if he was like coming on to her or something.
Yeah. And also, like, all right, so the first time I read this, like, way back when it came out, that's exactly what I thought was, like, she was, like, oh, you're lucky you didn't come on to her, and I suspect that you would try to, and all that stuff. But also, remember, he is kind of doing, like, a whole mutant revolution thing, and she said they're not going to have any part in it, even though they are edging closer and closer to, like, his way of seeing things. And that was a moment in which Scott and Jean just bonded, because she had been avoiding him, and like the last time they even had a talk, she was like, fuck you and your marriage with me in the future, you know? Like, there was that whole thing of like, you lived it and I can't even imagine it, and walked away. And now it's like, oh, secretly I've like liked you this whole time, and like you're everything I wish you were, which is weird. Like, you become everything I wish you would become. But
She does a quick 180 on that.
yeah. So like, I think it can apply to that it's like she doesn't want him influencing her toward the revolution side of things either. Like, she doesn't trust his motives and agenda for mutant kind yet either. So like that, like I can see both reasons for why she doesn't want him alone with her.
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but I still think she didn't want him digging down a teenager.
Yeah, there's that too.
The way she said it, just with that's the last time I want to see you in her room alone.
Yeah, in her room alone. Yeah.
He's like, yes, ma'am.
I'm just trying to make it not so mean from Kitty's perspective. Basically, she's like, I expect you to molest a child.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
Like, that's kind of fucked up.
He was clearly like, no. I mean, I do, after the second time reading it, I kind of get how he might have not really led her on, but with the whole I would have dealt with you differently. Like, might have given her, like, the idea, like, oh, okay.
Again, it's like the harshest thing he says.
Yeah.
I will point out, though, that she says she doesn't want to see him alone with her again. Next time they hook up, Krakoa orgy.
Well, no, not technically. The next time they hook up, everyone's watching him in Rosenberg's as he's like kind of grabbing a handful of that thigh.
Of booty.
Yeah, well,
it was like a half
it's
booty.
like half booty, half thigh.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people there.
There was a lot of people there, yeah.
But he does bring up, because he did like deny her, and then he says, you know, your powers, you're learning new powers, Emma will help you. He's like, oh, your ex?
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's more than that.
So what was it? Silver
Boobs McGee. Yeah. But I thought that was worth pointing out, just because he was definitely not coming on to her. He brought up Emma, like, and not like in a sexual way, but like she can help you learn your powers.
Sort of way, yeah.
Yeah.
Whole, like, the most important thing to do now is train. Like, if anything, everything we've been through shows that, like, your training is the most important. I think what we really learned from this, Jean Grey, kind of into negging. It takes a little negging to be, like, to turn around, apparently.
Yeah. She wants it, I'll just say that.
That's why, like, Wolverine, he's just a rude guy, and she was like, oh, man, like that rudeness.
Yeah, because you guys brought it up. Jean's like, I can't even imagine me with you.
Yeah.
She sees older Scott, like, totally digging it. I can see this.
He's so rude to people.
And it probably has something a little bit to do with, too, last time she saw younger Scott, that he was, like, all over Laura.
Oh,
yeah, and speaking of Laura, so Warren's just flying around being a bird guy.
as he does.
As he does.
As you do.
And he sees a person walking and is like, well, this is a desolate area where no one's supposed to be here. And he swoops down and is like, oh, that's Laura. Where are you going with the pack?
Like the bird police over here.
Yeah. And she's like...
in my head, it's like people who police birds, but you were saying it's like a bird that is a cop.
Yeah, it's like whoever was like gluing the sombreros and cowboy hats on the birds, on the pigeons, like they just like pin badges and little cop hats.
The first thing he says is, hey, where are you going?
And she's like, I'm out of here. And it's like, well, you can't just leave the team and stuff. And he's like, is this about like Scott leaving? And she's like, he just left and that wasn't cool. Also, I don't even know you. And he's like, did you and Scott like have a thing? And it's not really answered. She's just like, I don't know you and I'm leaving. And he gives up because he's like, well, that's true. I don't know you. Peace.
Well, Bear.
Oh yeah, there's a bear. There's a bear that shows up, and
Not
she
a
like
demon that we know.
and she like it roars at them, and she like roars at it, and it's like, oh, okay, you beat me.
Which I like because that's kind of a callback to the many times Wolverine has done similar stuff, like back down a big animal.
Yeah, she's just doing it because of emotional angst, apparently, which is weird because like,
Well, the bear was coming to get them. It wasn't like she just ran looking for the bear.
right?
She runs after bears and she's yelling.
I'm saying her yelling at the bear was filled with emotional angst.
Oh yeah,
Like, because her entire like reason for leaving is apparently because Scott just up and left. And
no, it's because of that bear.
no, you just established that like she didn't go
It's
after the
canon.
bear. But because like he was like the nice one to her, and is the reason she even joined the team.
Yeah, they shared a hug.
Yeah, two hugs.
2 hugs. Yeah,
Two hugs.
it's a lot of hugs.
Yeah, for her, it's like all her hugs. She's never been hugged before.
I will say that a bear does drive the plot of a Wolverine movie.
Drives a plot of a lot of X-Men stuff. Now that you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bears. But he's like, I'm gonna stay in the woods, and then somebody kills his bear friend, and then he's like, I'm gonna kill who killed my bear friend.
I was gonna kill that bear first.
Turns out though it was Laura because
Yeah, it attacked her.
well,
'cause Angel thought she was gonna attack him, but there was a bear behind
Yeah.
him.
and he's like,
Typical.
you know what?
This is a sneaky ass bear.
Yeah, right. It's
I was
crept up.
trying to sneak up and eat Warren.
That was a bird.
It's like, you know that T-Rex at the end of the first Jurassic Park that just comes out of nowhere and starts eating the raptors?
Yeah,
It's like as sneaky as that T-Rex.
yeah. Didn't even make water shake that T-Rex. So anyway, he must have saw how she handled that bear and was like, all right, well, I guess you'll be fine. So he leaves and cut to Beast for some reason, writing Scott's name on a chalkboard and pointing to like, he left us. What does this mean?
Because in the new X-Men run, not the current X-Men, the new X-Men run, he is a bear.
Who's a bear?
Beast.
Beast's a bear?
Or is it Astonishing?
No,
Beast's a
astonishing.
cat.
He's a cat.
Yeah.
No, he's a bear.
Oh, power bear.
Oh, like a gay thing. Gotcha.
Jeez. Yeah, spell it out for the people.
Well, because maybe they don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about bears all over the place, but like actual like grizzlies and whatnot.
It's tough when it comes to Beast because he changes his appearance all the time.
Yeah.
But
It's like you guys are like, no, he was a cat.
X-23 got stabbed right before they go to Beast.
Then that's another Marvel Unlimited fuck up.
Yep.
Okay.
She gets stabbed by Cyclops.
So real quick, shout out Marvel Unlimited. You don't goof. Fuck you.
Stop taking fights with Marvel.
No.
I'm over
Fix
here-
your product.
I'm trying to
Pay
get
for it.
I'm trying to get a sponsorship over here. You're really making it hard.
They're not gonna sponsor us.
No, they're gonna sponsor me. You're making it hard.
His snowboarding career.
Yeah.
He keeps running.
I thought he was gonna do like
bears.
a niche comic rap career.
Yep. No, it's a hot dog eating competition. I'm trying to get a sponsorship.
Well, they fucking suck. Because now this is 4 issues within what we're covering. So all 4 issues.
I think they're doing great.
Dude. Because you're reading off Unlimited too, right?
Yeah.
So you know this.
Yeah.
Because you would have thought it's the Beast thing, but he just said, no, Laura gets... Okay, so Laura gets stabbed.
Then it's Beast.
Yeah. I mean, I was going into... All right, I guess. So Laura gets stabbed.
Maybe it's just yours because mine, she gets stabbed and then Beast.
No.
No, it's not just yours. Mine's doing it too.
No, this is... All right,
because
so,
it didn't do it.
hilarious mix-up. I looked at my notes a line lower than I should have.
Apologize.
Apologize to Marvel Unlimited.
All right, Marvel. My bad. For this issue.
Oh, so
So-
sincere.
Well, because I got another shout-out coming with the next issue.
Oh, dude.
So we'll be back.
We'll be back. So, anyway...
Beast is just sitting
Laura's
there
like
circling Scott's name.
Laura's walking through the snow and she's like, hey, I told you to stop following me, thinking it's still Warren. And out of the trees emerges Scott Summers, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Young Scott Summers.
Yeah, well, older. Well,
Little
past-
Scotty.
Past Scott Summers. Little Scotty.
Sounds like a shitty mumble rapper.
Little Slim.
Oh, jeez.
He's like, hey, I figured I ended things weird between us. Wasn't the way to do things. I had my dad bring me back just so I could wander in the middle of nowhere in the snow to find you and apologize and talk to you about, and then you get stabbed.
I like the idea that his dad did come back and dropped him off, but like 2 miles away from him. He was like, you can fucking walk.
Just make me fly all the way back here.
It was Cyclops. Like, drop me off around the block. Around the block.
She'll smell your ship coming.
Yeah, this minivan.
I don't want my mom to see your car.
I don't want her to see me getting dropped off by my dad.
Yeah, it's not cool.
And then he rats himself out. Yeah, my daddy dropped me off.
They go on a date and their dad has a chaperone to drive them to the space movies. And he's like, look, I would have picked you up on my own spaceship, but it's in the shop. So, yeah, spoilers. Laura gets stabbed. And then Scott walks away. And then Beast in his lab thinking thoughts of like, how does this work? Because Scott's name and all that stuff. But then in the cafeteria, Beast's there. So it's like just a 1 page of like Beast thinking thoughts in front of a chalkboard, and then like they don't care. Like they just move away from that. And
either that or he was hanging upside down in the middle of the lunchroom, just circling Scott's name. And then
well, I think it's like his lab. I don't think it's a lunchroom.
I don't know. All we
It's
see
still
is
a
the board.
callback.
Maybe it's on wheels. He can move it wherever.
He's
I
been
just
working
feel
on
like
this for a long time for no reason.
Just circling that name.
He's just like, why? How?
He's trying to make like a science experiment out of an historic timeline.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't work.
Yeah, because later when you see like future Beasts writing and stuff, it's like, what are you even doing? You got just names and you got like equations. Or even this Beast, it's like
It's not a math problem.
Scott leaves with dad, and then it's like math equations.
It's not
like,
math.
All you can read on the board is Scott leaves team, Jean new power. What does it mean?
What? Yeah. How do magnets work?
Just what? Yeah.
Anyway, Warren walks into the cafeteria and he's like, so Laura's gone. And Bobby's like, who's Laura?
Oh, yeah. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Foreshadow does sound like an X-Men character.
It does. It's almost as good as forearms.
Yeah.
They throw their shadow. Like, that's their whole power, is they make you think that they're around a corner, and really, they're behind you.
Either that or their forearm has a shadow that they can manipulate.
They got 4 shadows that follow them.
Stupid. Like, you walk around and you just have 4 shadows.
Why not?
Each in a different direction.
I mean, you got forearm.
Well, that's a guy with 4 arms, right?
2 more
Whack.
arms is useful.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, he's like almost as cool as Shiva.
What if he had 2 extra arms, but they came out of his elbows? So he literally had 4 forearms.
I mean, he did already, didn't he?
No, but like with no other arm parts.
Just the 4
Just the
forearm.
4 forearms, yeah.
They have so much to edit.
Why? So, anyway, Warren's like, so Laura's gone, and the rest of them were like, oh no, where'd she go? And Bobby's like, who's Laura? And he's like, well, she was in the woods and walking away. She's mad about Scott, I guess, and she wouldn't listen to me because she's like, I don't know you. And I'm like, well, I'm the guy with the bird wings. And she's like, I don't know you. That's my purse.
I've been trying not to say that this whole episode.
I feel like they dropped a big bomb here because they're like, who's Laura? It's like the only other girl.
The
but
girl with
Jean.
the claws. And,
He literally said the only other girl but Jean.
which isn't true. Like, Ava's there.
And then literally
Yeah.
Kitty.
Yeah, but
as
none
the
of
next
them,
sentence.
the cuckoos.
none of them will hang out with him.
Yeah. But I mean, they're all in the lunchroom, though.
Like Mindy doesn't start hanging out with Iceman
Or at least
until, like,
Mindy's in
next
the
issue.
lunchroom.
I think it means like in the all new cast, kind of, because the rest are the uncanny cast. But yeah, he's like, still never heard of her.
Yeah. And then, what does he call her? Like, I've been calling her a Wolverine clone this whole time. Which, I mean, is accurate.
Yeah. I mean, it's about as on the nose as Taserface, but
Bobby does say that X-23 would have kicked Warren's ass, which I liked.
Yeah, which is true.
True.
And then Kitty shows up, and Warren's like, so Laura's gone. And she's like, well, then get her. And he's like, well, she isn't going to listen to me. and Bobby says that. He's like, see, Bobby knows.
I don't even know this girl, but she'd kick your ass. I never seen her.
And then he turns because Mindy's acting all weird, and he's like, Mindy, what's up with you?
What's up with you?
Or, you know what? No, that's the next issue. I'm thinking in the terms of
like you're skipping the whole
yeah
pregnancy thing.
Yeah, no, that's the next issue.
They don't know names over here.
Who doesn't know names?
Because they're all talking that shit like, who's Laura? And then Laura shows up after she's been stabbed, and she's like, show yourself. There's a shapeshifter, show yourself. And Beast is like, healer, get over here.
Yeah, that's true.
Rude.
But I think
because Beast only pays attention to the two other people that are also him.
Well, no, and Scott, apparently. Like, if you zoom out on that board, it's just Scott, Scott,
Gene, and
Scott.
Beast. But he cares about himself twice as much as Gene and Scott.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of Beast.
He takes all three
Yeah.
names and is like, drawn a triangle.
Triage was probably like, big hands, I'm on the way.
If Scott's in Gene and I'm in Scott, then at least by transitive properties, I'm in Gene.
Oh, jeez. He does seem like the type.
I mean, he does say he's gay later.
Whatever it takes.
Earlier.
Yeah. Earlier, both.
Earlier, but later.
He's just trying to solve that puzzle. So,
Gotta hate Beast.
So we saw a bear.
yeah.
That's how much I'm gonna edit from that point to this.
No, because that's what Angel said. They're like, oh, shapeshifter. Angel's like, we saw a bear. Dude sounds high as hell right now, I'll tell you that. He's not contributing at all.
Oh, he does.
And,
he does get high a lot.
Right, well, because she's stabbed and he's like, maybe it's the bear. Like, it came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's how that ties in.
Because I was like, what is he talking about over
But,
here?
like, she's saying shapeshifter, so, like, why would you, like...
Maybe that's the
bear's the shapeshifter?
Yeah.
And then you see outside, it's the future Brotherhood of X-Men, and they're climbing up to the school, all menacing like.
Yeah, Molly's huge.
Fuck yeah, she is.
So the baby.
Yeah. So Moira McTaggart's having a baby. This is issue 27 now. And she's all screaming and whatnot because I'm sure that hurts just like the Dickens. And they have the baby and it's like, oh, it's bald, just like a guy we know. And
I don't think that was a. Did they say that?
No.
I didn't think so. I was like, a lot of babies are bald. If you're equating them.
But he never gets hair again. And if you think about it, Xavier kind of does look like a baby, just like morphed way the fuck up.
He gets hair when he's James McAvoy.
When he's James McAvoy. Anyway, so she's all like, I don't want this fucking hell baby. Because I remember the Phoenix killing Xavier, and somehow that's relevant here. And they're like, but ma'am, are you sure? We get you're stressed and whatnot. You just pushed a thing through your vagina, but like, it's your baby. You sure you just don't want it? She's like, I don't want it. Get the hell out of here. And they're like, oh, we can talk about it later. Bye.
She's like, pass.
Just step out. You know those trash cans where you like step out. Just like, throw the baby.
It's like she said she didn't want it. And then he's raised by the Morlocks. He would have been a way better person if he was raised by the Morlocks.
That implies she like flushed it down the toilet.
Well, that they did. Anyway, Moira turns out to not be Moira. It's Mystique. She shifts and like she's wearing gloves and whatnot while still having a pregnant belly. Like it's so weird. Like she just completely turns into her whole Mystique outfit while still in a hospital gown. How does that work?
They didn't show that.
Well,
Yeah,
it's implied. Like unless she's like straight up, like is that part of her body?
No,
But
that's just what she makes it look like. She's
The clothes?
She's Moira, and then it zooms into her face. The face turns blue. The arms
I know, but I
Well, the
mean she's
gloves.
still in the same
in the same
stuff in general.
scenery, but it doesn't show like it doesn't zoom out and show her still pregnant in a gown.
Well,
You just
she's got to
see it.
still be pregnant.
You just see it. No, sure. Well, she can change her appearance.
Well, you know what? That makes sense. Like she's, damn, just like every woman's envy, I assume. Just be like, no more baby stuff. I don't have to work out a day after this.
Literally,
she's got a healing factor too. So this little baby Xavier, isn't this the grandson of Xavier?
That doesn't make any sense.
They don't know. They
know.
Specifically say like my dad, my grandpa.
That's what I'm wondering, because didn't they originally say it was the grandchild of Xavier?
They don't know.
And then they repeatedly say his father.
Are you're talking on Battle of the Atom? He said it was the grandson of Xavier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But he then does say father, and I guess it doesn't matter.
No, they do say in this that they don't know if he's his father or his grandfather.
No, but he says it's his father.
Yeah, he says he doesn't know.
He's like, you might have known my father, but it's like, nobody knows your father. If you're the grandson of Xavier.
It's Xavier.
Yeah, but
Xavier's the dad and the grandfather.
He says Xavier was my father maybe my grandfather.
He's God and Jesus. He's the second dad. Xavier was his own dad.
We figured it out.
Xavier went back in time, fucked his mom, became his own dad.
Somebody did that. Who did that?
Xavier.
No, like, there's an actual character who did that type of shit.
Fry. He fucks his grandma. Also, in Future Man, the main character accidentally sucks his mom's tits in the past.
It's horrible.
And he finds out while his mouth is on her boob, and she says her name, and the boob like pops out of his mouth, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah. So anyway, the Brotherhood just busts into the school basically. Like they're like, Raze got this. And
that sounded Russian. Razgatsis.
But no, Xavier's like, Molly, rip up that thing off the ground. You're gonna throw it, and you're gonna break into this school. Oh, by the way, shout out to Marvel Unlimited. Fuck you. You totally screwed up all the pages in this book. Real bad.
You did great. You did great, Marvel Unlimited.
I had no issues with this. I don't know what's happening.
This one is really bad. Really bad. So,
gotta update your app.
Update your app.
This one is working.
He's probably reading a book. So anyway, the Laura thing in the room turns out to not be Laura at all. It's Raze. And it's like, I'm the shapeshifter. Psych. And
Shank.
Psych and Shank. Yeah. Just stabs Triage right into the throat. After going, so you're the healer, huh? Fuck you. You're dead now. Or is he?
Find out next time.
On Dragon Ball Z. So,
I like Beast straight grabs him by the head. I love that.
Yeah. And then also, Warren notices like something fucking weird's going on with Mindy, and it's because she's like psi controlled. And this is one of the issues, is like, this is where in Marvel Unlimited, they fucking jump in like this part where Mindy starts wrecking their brain and stuff, starts psychically torturing them, is like way in a different part. And also right before this, you see that like the Cuckoos go up to Mindy because they're looking for her, because they can't sense her in their mind, and they find her kneeling on the ground, and she's already being controlled by baby Xavier. And like, so it's sort of jumbled in my mind because it is jumbled in the book. But either way, the main body of the Brotherhood, like they crash through, like Molly throws that thing through the like hangar door or whatever, and they're like, we gotta find Cyclops, and like there he is, like right there. And they're like, oh, that's...
The way you said that makes me think of it's Superbad when Jonah Hill's like, here I am.
Yeah.
Well, so they like break in, it's just Cyclops, like, here I am.
Well, because like Cyclops, Jean, and Emma are like standing there, and they're like, oh, well, these people aren't supposed to be here, and Scott just optic blasts them all like right out, and then Jean reform, like with the rubble of the surrounding area, like builds back up a wall, and even Emma's like, sure, because that's not gonna stop them.
Yeah, the paneling was really great, though. Cause, like, we still have Emma Frost and Jean Grey to deal with. Not even worried about Cyclops. Yeah. And they got blasted. But it was cool because foreboding. It's like, oh, we still have to deal with them. And then the way it was drawn, it's kind of like a dark hallway. Or kind of reddish in tint. But then you see just the three figures and you see Cyclops' X. So you know it's them. And then it zooms in on his face.
Because whatever...
blasted.
Because whatever it is that Molly ripped up, like, cut the power of the the base, because that's what you do when you have secret bases. You put your power source in a big like block above ground right out front of it.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to get generators and the gasoline in Canada? Like the middle of Canada, you gotta like haul that gasoline for the spare generators.
Right, but I love that you go through all the trouble of making a secret mutant torture lab, but like you cut costs at where you're gonna put like the energy box, so to speak, of just like, yeah, you know what, just put it out there up front so the gas trucks can just drive right up to it, because
maybe use a windmill.
Nothing's gonna happen there. Nothing bad's gonna happen to that thing.
It's really weird that Cyclops and Emma keep calling themselves Miss and Mr. Miss Frost and Mr. Summers.
I think it's just because they're social distancing.
It's weird.
Well, I mean,
they call Magneto Eric.
They're trying really hard not to bang each other all the time. Because, you know, ethics, morals, anger.
I don't know, she does teach ethics, so.
But Emma's also calling Jean Miss Gray.
Anger.
She's trying to be professional, even though she wants to.
She's trying not to bang her. It's weird.
Well, I think that's more like, hey, we're not friends.
Yeah.
I don't like you. Plus, like, all she ever hears is Cyclops going, Jean!
In his head, yeah. It's on a loop.
Even when they were banging, he'd climax and she hears in his head, Jean!
Oh, jeez. It's like the sound, you know, like when he blasts and it's like, Zarp. But it's Jean.
That's so stupid.
Every time he's holding a body, they always have him holding him that way because it's hiding his boner. Okay, so
he has to switch from the X pose that he's doing to like the DXX, so it covers his crotch.
It then cuts to the future, and it shows that Xavier got adopted by a mutant lady who's like doing like, I don't know, some sort of mutant Tetris thing, like psychically or whatever. Like, it seems to be like she's psychically moving some puzzle thing in the air. And
is that, or is it just like,
or it's like a hologram
future?
Yeah. You know what? Maybe that too. I can see it being
if she's
either
a psychic, then she went out easy.
Well. Even for being a human, she went out easy. She hears like baby Xavier yell, and she goes into the room, and he's like, my head. And she's like, oh, honey, you got a headache? Take an aspirin or whatever. And he's like, it's not a headache. I felt those before. Die.
I mean, it can't be that far in the future because baby Xavier has a Dreamcast. So
yeah,
does he?
Yeah, he really does.
That was outdated when this comic came out by like a decade.
Oh, maybe they come back in the future. So it's that far in the future.
Yeah. It's a Dreamcast 2 over here.
What was that boxing game where like the dude with the fro?
Fucking nerd.
Dude with the fro.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Punch Out?
No, not Punch Out. The one on the PlayStation.
Oh.
With like the circle.
There's on the
numbers. It was on the PlayStation too.
I thought it was a PlayStation.
I'm just saying. He's
Ready
saying
to Rumble?
Yeah, Ready to Rumble.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a good ass game. I played that on the Dreamcast.
Anyway, so he kills his mom, and then I thought that's it. He kills his mom by like blasting her back, and he's like, "Oh, my headache's gone." And then he associates.
Thank God.
Turns out it was that bitch.
Yeah, he associates like death with relief, I assume.
No, he says, "Oh no," and cries.
He does, but not that.
Not that much. Only for one panel.
How would you react if you found out you could only come whenever you murdered somebody?
I would cry for one panel.
Oh, whenever you murdered your mom.
Yeah.
Like real specific. You invent time travel just so you can come again. If you're that guy.
Yeah, the headache was just a backed up jizz like forming in his body.
So then Iceman blasts Raze. It goes back to the present, and like Iceman blasts Raze. Yeah, hits him with a bunch of ice, and he's all like, "I'm not the guy who was trying to stab you. I'm Laura. Trust me now." And I do like they're kind of confused, and right away, Shadowcat's like, "Look, don't even get close. This is just some shapeshifter bullshit. It's just what they do." Which is weird that like shapeshifters in comics think that they can like rattle you that way. Like, we just saw you were.
Well, no,
you're not the You're not the thing you're pretending to be now. We just saw you weren't that.
I mean, obviously, I didn't believe it, but and normally it's ridiculous. But because they have Xavier, he was saying they're mentally manipulating you.
Yeah, there was a whole, like, obviously Xavier took over the Cuckoos, and so he's working with their hive mind.
And they kind of have the same powers, so it's like maybe he is doing that.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but
this
they
is
also
the
call
mini part.
bullshit like right away.
Yeah.
But it's also worth mentioning that like right at this point that
Triage is just dying.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's still,
They say he
he's
doesn't
stabbed in
even
the
have a
throat.
pulse.
Yeah. And then Raze turns into Cyclops and is like, what does he say?
We're all in a heap of trouble.
Yeah, a heap of trouble. And Iceman's like, even Scott doesn't say heap. No one says heap. It's like that's where he's calling bullshit now. And he could have had them. He could have had him thinking that Xavier was playing mind games
If he
until he
didn't say
morphed
heap.
again and said heap.
And Young Beast punches that Cyclops in the face, and it's like, I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Now it's my turn.
To come?
For Gene.
Oh.
He's like, that guy's out of the picture.
It already was his turn. He ruined it by like
Fucked it up.
digging himself.
Yeah.
It was like himself cubed.
Yeah.
And then we get Emma punching Jean.
No. That's where it fucked up.
That's literally before the Cyclops thing.
It's not though.
It's not.
That's what I'm saying.
At some
Unlimited.
point we get it.
Fucked up.
No, they're
it's
great.
literally like the end. So
Triage brings himself back
yes.
from the dead.
And he's like, what? I was dead? It's like, yeah, you were dead. You're not now. Did you know you could do that? It's like, fucking, no. It's like, who knows that they can bring themselves back to life until they've done it?
Jesus.
You knew.
He knew.
So yeah,
He had an
I love
inkling.
that. Who shared that meme of like, what was it? The government and coronavirus. The coronavirus was like a vat of water that was spilling out, and the government was Jesus, and he slapped his hand to it. Oh, my friend Sam
the
did.
flex tape.
And no. So it's like Jesus in a vat of water that was spilling out. And that was supposed to be Corona, and Jesus is supposed to be the government. And Jesus smacks his hand to the government to the hole, and it just goes out of the hole in his hand. It's fucking fantastic.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So all right. Anyway,
You got Mindy there, fucking
yeah,
everybody
Mindy
up.
shows up.
Have you heard the theory that the reason they put nails in Jesus' hands and feet was so he couldn't walk on water anymore?
Why his hands?
Just so he couldn't crawl.
Does it on elbows and knees. All right, anyway. So, yeah, Mindy shows up and she's like, you guys are going to be psychically tortured now. And they all start getting psychically tortured.
Who's also Irma.
I have to point out, Mindy
Yeah.
is Irma, that nobody has
Cool as
school
I-
uniforms, but the Cuckoos are like in traditional schoolgirl uniforms.
Yeah, that's all they wear.
They always are. They
yeah,
gave
that's
them
true.
out when they first like had the idea of the Xavier school. Like when they first were came into the school with new X-Men, and they just kept theirs.
Yeah. So Xavier, like this is when it goes back to the future again, and Xavier is it goes to like Madripoor, and you see Mystique. She's going into like a building, and Xavier's in the room, and Mystique's like, "Why? All right, who's there? I can't see you, but I can smell you." And Xavier's like, "Oh, I didn't think to like shut off your sense of smell. I didn't know you could do that. I just thought to shut off your sense of vision of me." And it's like, "Who are you? You're not my mom." And he's like, "Who's your mom?"
I'm your daddy.
Like, cause it's not Mystique, it's Razzle, and
It's Raze.
yeah, and he's like, I killed my mom, or I guess our mom, and if you got a problem with that, I'm gonna kill you too, and if you don't, then we could be cool.
Cheeto XL.
But I like that he was like, "Oh yeah, our mom got rid of me." He's like, "But kept me." Genius move. Just burned him right there.
And so he's like, we can grow up to do evil things together. Haha. Because already fucking...
Was he fucking Mandark?
Sort of. I mean, it's sort of dumb dialogue, I guess.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. So, goes back to the present, and Jean and Emma and Scott, they're still trying to like formulate some sort of plan and figure out how to get to like what's going on. Like they don't fully know what's going on because they're busy psychically shielding themselves from baby Xavier's psi attacks, and Xavier's like getting into Jean's mind a little bit, and this is when Emma's like fucking punch you in the face, and it says smack, but that's a straight up cross to the face, just bam. And Scott's like, you were looking for a reason to do that, weren't you? And she's like, well, I mean, it's Xavier, an older Jean Grey, and the psychic, like the cuckoos. I don't like those odds with like young Jean Grey versus all that.
She's like, yeah. But you know, she was loving it.
Yeah, she was digging it.
Because she thought awfully hard about that reason.
Yeah. Or it just came to her in like a stroke of like an epiphany, like a stroke of brilliance.
He's like, you did that because you wanted to. And she's like, no, I did that because Xavier is better, and also other people, and it's just Jean.
And
so
Jean older.
punch.
Yeah. And Xavier gets in her mind anyway. Like as she's like on the ground, she's like, I'm okay. And Xavier gets up in her head, and he's like, no, you're really not. And then he says something that doesn't make sense. He goes, I should have taken care of you first last time. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Except he has, because they've literally attacked everyone else but Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And they're now getting to Jean Grey. So, right on, Xavier. Way to be wrong.
He's like, damn it. I keep fucking this up.
Issue 28 starts like in the past, and you see the future Beast.
The future past.
Right?
Their past.
Their
different
past
future.
of the future.
X-Men is confusing.
Yeah. Time wobbles.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah. So, anyway, Beast is like, with his chalkboard, writing Scott's name a whole bunch, but then also age of this, age of that.
Yeah, and it's like a Cerebro chalkboard.
Yeah, because he's really up the ante for chalkboard technology.
Yeah, he's got big arms that are like, it's like the Cerebro in the second X-Men movie that they build, where it has all the panels missing, and an arm, just like a robot arm that works on cars, is like moving the different squares around.
Yeah, so he has different
Which just fucks up your equations.
Yeah, well, because his mind's all jumbled. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, that's part of the problem. Is like, so baby Xavier and Raze are like, hey, Beast, what you doing? You crazy guy, you? And he's like, you, bald guy, you related to Xavier? And he's like, yeah, he's my dad, I think, or something like that. He's like, crazy, I gotta write that down. And then you, other guy, who's your daddy? He's like, Logan. He's like, you know him.
Yeah.
It's fucking Logan.
Which that was the part I
claws.
was talking about, of whether he was his like father or grandson, because he says, you might be thinking of my father or my father's father. So he doesn't even really know who
My
his
father's
daddy is.
father's father.
Or my father's father before him.
But I'm saying it's him. It is Xavier.
Is his father or his father?
Well, we're gonna
All of the above.
officially learn it later, but I'm telling you, it is.
His father or father?
Father.
Father?
Yeah.
Father.
You're just doing this on purpose. Yeah. Baby Xavier's dad is not baby Xavier.
Is it Legion?
Oh.
Baby Xavier's dad is not baby Xavier.
Although
He's his own dad.
It's Daddy Xavier, I'd hope.
Justin called it. He goes and fucks Mystique himself.
but thinking it's his brother. And he's like, no, you're actually my mom.
Too late.
This was our favorite role play.
He would have to be super sexually confused to confuse us. He's like, I thought it was a butthole.
No, because Raze was his mom. He was acting like he was Mystique. Remember? Like
Yeah.
he killed her and assumed her identity. Which is fucking mind-blowing that you assume the identity of a shapeshifter, so you could literally be anything and say you're Mystique, and they'd be like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Could you make yourself not pregnant, though? Apparently not.
You could make yourself not pregnant after, well, not having been pregnant.
You can
After
make yourself
have
not
the baby.
look pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it can be good for the baby.
No, that's how you get baby Xavier.
Yeah.
That's the recipe right there.
Which, like, later we find out he's only a year older
She keeps
than Raze, so, like, she gets rid of him but keeps Logan's baby.
she keeps turning herself into a slinky, and that's not good for the baby.
Specifically falling downstairs. The slinkies fall downstairs.
Yes,
It's like the whole thing.
you got it.
So, fuck, where am I even in this?
I don't know. We're like an hour into this podcast.
Okay, yeah. So they recruit Beast because they're like, we gotta do some time travel shit, and we hear you're the man for the job. And his brains are all scrambled, and Raze is like, yeah, his brains are scrambled, and Xavier's like, yeah, he's been through some shit, but not for long, and he like adjusts his brain or whatever, and Beast is like, oh, thank you. Well, my stars and garters, and like, oh, he really does say that or whatever, and he joins the team of extraordinary evil X-Men,
Of brotherly X-Men.
I guess.
Well, because they were just two brothers at that point.
Well,
They were literally the Brotherhood. 'Cause it's just two brothers
yeah.
in a van.
All right. So, anyway, fucking line here. Laura gets up in the snow, and she's all like, "I got stabbed. I gotta find who did this shit." And
It was a bear.
oh, she scared the bear. And then Mindy's crying because she is torturing the X-Men, and she's all like, "I'm not in control of this. I can't stop." And they're all like, "Mindy, stop!" And she's like, "I just said I can't stop." What would stop?
Bad boy.
And yeah, so Xavier starts attacking Jean in her mind, and because he restates the thing he said in the last issue, I should have started with you first, and you know,
Then doesn't.
Well,
Well,
he's literally the
apparently
last.
using the hive mind. It says this is the hive mind, like they're in it. So
Yeah.
even though he just has Mindy, he's apparently tapping into the rest of the hive mind.
Well, he doesn't just have Mindy. Like early on, he had Mindy first, and then Mindy and him and Zorn Jean take over the
Zorn.
other two.
This is when they should
Well,
have brought
Zorn
back the bug
Jean.
room.
They should have.
You say that like literally every time.
Because they should have brought it back by now.
It was a thing Cassandra Nova did. That's like her deal.
Still a thing. Still there.
Yeah, we saw
Cyclops has said.
We saw our issue 25.
Yeah, but Cyclops not the one getting fucked with psychically.
Yeah, you could have done it.
And I think they're like, only Scott has a bug room or something. And I know everyone's supposed to have a big bug room, but they only ever show Scott's big bug room. And those guys are chill as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
more chill than Scott.
No.
It's like his fear is being chill.
I think I've said it.
So that's what they are.
I think I've said it before, but they're just the aliens from Men in Black that drink coffee.
Yeah. Except not even annoying. Those guys, they get annoying.
Yeah.
And so Xavier is attacking Jean in her mind, and she's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, because I fucking hate you. And I hate the X-Men. And it shows like the future, and it's like the future Brotherhood of evil mutants and fighting the future X-Men. And then that goes into Xavier, like, because they get beat, because of course they get beat. And so they're like whining in some like fancy hotel room in Madripoor with their team all together. And Beast is all like, I'm done with this. I'm tired of fighting my fellow mutants. And I see Colossus and I remember all the good times we had. And I think, how could I have gone so far astray? And I'm done. And Xavier's like, bitch, no, you ain't. You're done when I say you're done. I'm never saying you're done. You in
Say
this
I
for
understand.
life. Now apologize.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna literally say, kiss it.
Yeah. So you find out that basically all of his Brotherhood are being mind controlled by Xavier, and he's making them do all the bad things they're doing,
I'm going to argue that
like retroactively. So Battle the Atom.
Big Iceman not being controlled by Xavier.
Right. Yeah. He's just like a rogue one who
Because he says, say I understand. He says Glarg.
he does it.
That's more of a issue with his throat, though, than with his.
You know what? I think that was defiance.
It's like if you told Groot to say, like, tell me you understand. He wouldn't be able to say it.
He would have said, "I am Groot."
Gandalf the Cold didn't make vocal cords for the golems.
But I think Xavier's like, he agrees. He doesn't. It's like, whatever, man.
He's thinking, like, I actually have some strong points against this that I'd like to be heard if I could have the floor. Oh, you're going to ignore me now? All right,
Fine.
Fine.
He's got so much pent-up anger.
And he's so, like, I like that he's super eloquent and articulate in his head, but everything just comes out Glarg.
So, like, Man-Thing?
Yeah.
So, like, have you ever read Man-Thing?
No.
In his head, he'll be like say something extremely poetic. Be like, oh my God, I haven't seen her in years. I missed her so much. To hold her one more time. And then as he's like looking at the girl he misses, he'll be like,
You know, it's the issue
like the
that's
Daleks.
so funny to me. It's a giant-sized man-thing. It's just fantastic.
That's a great name for an issue.
I have an issue with your issue.
Doesn't sound like an issue at all to me.
All right, so anyway, you find out that he's been like sort of puppeting them this entire time, and he's just like, how come they're always beating me? And one of the things Beast does say is like they've mastered fucking magic and their mutant powers, and magic's always gonna beat psychic powers. For some reason, he's decided, like they say that, so it's like definitive in this arc, and it comes back later. That like for Beast,
yeah, magic is
trumps.
Well, not even
psychic powers.
Yeah, but like just some type of combination of magic with anything, like it's just you're better.
Yeah,
well, he was saying
because
like,
you could just win, and they'd be like, "How did you win?" It's just magic.
They mastered everything. It's like all you have is psychic powers. All it takes is a little helmet to stop that.
And then every time you lose, you run away and you cry in a hotel room. So that can't be good. They're doing all sorts of stuff. They're training. They're playing baseball. That's team building. Okay.
Yeah, you keep on dropping acid in hotel rooms, and then waking up the next morning thinking you're going to fight the X-Men.
I wish you could go back in time and kill your mom again, just so you could feel the sweet relief. All right. Anyway, so Scott, Emma, and Jean are being confronted by Xavier and the rest. And, you know what? I don't think it's revealed just yet. But so anyway, they're there, and I'm just going to note that Xavier is in the chair from before.
He's been in the chair.
Right, yeah, he's been in the chair this whole time from when
Golden
he got
chair,
his,
like the 90s. Looks like.
But it's psychic, and it's from when he got crippled by the soul sword.
Even though he went back in time, because didn't he die and then they go back in time, or did
That's
he not
what
die?
I was trying to wait for.
Oh, sorry, man.
But I was just trying to point out that it didn't make sense right now, because he's in this chair, and he's like, Scott, kill Jean. And he's like trying not to shoot her in the face, but like also he's about to shoot her in the face because he's holding Jean. And Emma just sort of tackles him so that he does it, and he instead just shoots the shit out of Molly. And Xavier is like, Deadpool, and someone else fucking kill him.
Would be hilarious if he like turns his head like, no, shoots randomly and it bounces off like 3 walls and hits Jean.
Jean anyway.
It's one of those things, though, because it's like whenever they want, they can stop psychic stuff. Like, oh, we have psychic defenses. But then they don't. It's kind of like Wolverine. Like, he's psychic defensive, but
well, sort of, because that's one of the things they're talking about. Like, in this moment, too, right before Xavier and his Brotherhood show back up, they're trying to figure out a way to get distance from Xavier and, you know, to sort of regroup and figure out how they're going to come back at them. And Emma is being distracted by the fact that she's hearing the screams of everyone else being attacked by the hive mind. And she mentions, like, you know, it's a part of her, like, she's able to hold up a psychic defense, but at the same time, like, she can't stop hearing the screams. Like, it's a part of her power that's still broken that, like, she can't not do that. Like, she can't turn it off. So it's distracting.
I thought of something crazy. I don't know why they don't do this. Hear me out. Why don't they all wear Magneto helmets?
They do at one time.
I thought of this.
One time, you read the book. We've talked about this.
And it was sort of like, how come they all don't wear Magneto helmets?
And I think you were opposed to it. You were like, really? They're all just wearing Magneto.
By the way, we've learned now through the coronavirus that, like, you could at least, Like, because it'd be like, who's going to wear that, though? You know? Like, people are just going to rebel and not do whatever. But you would have thought that with masks. And everyone's wearing masks. So it's like, oh, a lot more people. Like, if it was psychic attacks, everyone would be wearing Magneto helmets.
I mean, we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
But, I mean, also kind of literally now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Scott's almost about to kill Jean. Emma stops that. He shoots the shit out of Molly. And then it goes back to the future because they're like, how are you even doing this? Like, weren't some of you even dead? Like, how's this all happening all over again? And it shows that, you know, they're having a brainstorming session of what they're going to do in the future. Like, how do they deal with the X-Men? And Raze is all like, what if we just went to the past and fuck shit up there? And they're like, that's a great idea. Let's get Beast to do that for us. And he's like, please don't make me do that. And Xavier's like, shut the shit up. I don't want to hear it. We're going. Also, we're going to kill my mom again.
While we're there.
I just need a release, man.
Yeah, and that's where Raze does the sexy pose.
Yeah, he's like, while holding Beast. And what's funny is I thought, because I mean, especially now I'm drawing a comic, you know, I think about what parts of my panels are going to be covered up with like word bubbles and stuff. So I was like, oh, I wonder what this actually looked like, because they cover that whole part, like his whole ass and leg part of that pose is covered with word balloons.
No, just the cheeks.
And I was like, what if it was like super inappropriate or something? And that's why they did it. It's like, all right, we got to shut this shit down.
Wearing assless chaps right now.
That would be kind of a good idea, though, to use the word bubbles to cover everything up, like the beginning of any Austin Powers movie. Like as somebody who's just completely naked the whole book, and it's just the word bubbles.
Yeah. But then it's like, in the next issue, it's the exact same panel, and they're like, nope, here's that ass. They just show you the whole thing all over again.
They printed the first one, and he was like, no, reuse it!
I drew that ass for a reason. But yeah, anyway.
You know how long I spent on those cheek dimples?
Xavier's like, well, what if we fail? And Raze is like, well, I mean, if we fail, we just send a message back to ourselves and be like, hey, you fucked up. Do it over. And as they say that, they're like, who's there? And it's just an envelope slides under the door. And Xavier's like, we failed. Looks like we already did do this. We do go to the past. And it didn't work out. But now we know how to win. And that sort of explains how they're even there and how the dead ones aren't dead and all that jazz. And Jean is like, oh, you think you know me? And then does the Edge song.
Comes out. You made a reference. I haven't heard you say a wrestling reference in a long time. That didn't have anything to do with CTE.
It was in the moment. I didn't think Edge. I just thought you think you know me, and then immediately Edge.
You saw my brain clicking.
So she starts going psionic, because that's like a new ability she has because of the whole trial thing. And at the same time, Laura is lunging at Xavier, and that ends the issue.
That is a great panel.
Yeah.
I have to say. The art in this is great.
It is. There's some close-ups, though, that remind me of, was it Dodson?
What about
The
him?
dog?
Terry Dodson.
Yeah, the artist. Who did Uncanny X-Men for a long time, I think, in Gillen's run.
Yeah. No. Fractions run.
Fractions run, yeah. I said I think. Wasn't definite. But yeah, so there are a couple panels, especially of Laura, where it's got like that super like cheekbone chin style.
Oh, yeah.
Like really exaggerated.
I do like some Dodson, though.
Yeah, good. His characters just start to blend in because he's like got basically molds, right? Like most of the women kind of look the same and most of the men kind of look the same.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's sort of like, is it like a Colossus type guy, so it's all bulky and more of a square face, or is it like a Cyclops like guy where it's like normal size? And
Yeah, I mean, it's better than drawing Captain America with the giant tits.
oh yeah, no, fucking everybody's better than what's his face, Dick Face McGee.
Dick face.
Yeah, I'm spacing on his name.
Liefeld.
Andrew Reifeld.
What?
What? So anyway, issue 29, and it sort of like replays stuff. Like Laura is coming up to the fucking torture school. It's basically a torture chamber that is now a school. Like every time I gotta say the Xavier Institute, it's like all the things it is like rush to my mind at the same time, and I don't know what to call it right away. But
36 chambers.
So I just call it Wu-Tang. So Laura's coming up with Wu-Tang. And you see that like Jean's been talking to her in her mind, like telling her what to do, like do like a sneak attack on Xavier, and that she's like, I'm pretty sure this message is getting through because Xavier is so focused on pushing all of his psychic energy out that he's not really listening to anything. It's sort of like conversationally, like if you're just yelling constantly, you're not hearing what other people are saying at the same time. But she does say something weird, like, we don't have a lot of time, and she's like, he's so close to catching me, or something like that. Like she's not sure he didn't notice that she's talking to Laura. But also, she talks to Laura so long where it's like, hey, Jean, shut up. Like, he's gonna catch you then. Like,
I picture it though that like Laura comes in and then Jean's like, oh, thank God you're here. All right, they're about to attack us, so I need you to listen very closely to my plan. She's like, all right. She's like, so how's your day?
pretty much. Like, she's going on and on.
I feel like we never talk anymore.
and you know, you're seeing all these panels that are replaying from the issue prior, but obviously with the subtext of what Jean's telling Laura, but like so much of it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 20 speech bubbles or something like that. And she says, we only have half a second to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Like over the course of like 9 panels. But you get an amazing panel of like Laura is behind is behind Xavier and then just stabs him right in the back. And then Jean goes like full psionic and then does a giant psychic blast at him.
Well, she has a quote, though. Nice.
Nice. She just shaved her legs.
Which was funny because he just got stabbed in the back, and that's what she said.
And then Raze.
Just look up a definition.
Fucking
look up how it's
pronunciations.
pronounced.
He attacks Laura like, hey, I'm the guy who stabbed you. And she's like, yeah, I fucking figured. You're the guy with the claws who shapeshifts. Like, no, I was looking for Scott Summers with claws. So stupid.
Like,
It's Raze.
so I like that now there you go. The hive mind is no longer in control by Xavier. So they're back to themselves and they want to like kill Xavier basically. And they're like, oh, I think Jean Grey has it. And I don't know which one of the cuckoos it is, but she's like, oh, damn it. Like,
It's, okay, it's Celeste?
probably Celeste.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who's got the hate on for Jean.
So, his hold breaks, and it breaks over the Brotherhood because, you know, he's been mind controlling them the whole time. They're like, oh, fuck, this whole time, we haven't been ourselves. And shit. And they're like, everyone's about to attack Xavier, and I think Molly even wants to, like, kill Xavier, and then Xavier's like, fucking, no, you guys all kill each other. And then it works, which is a weird thing that, like, he just couldn't stop Jean, and then he just made Jean fight the rest of the X-Men, like, all at once. And then he goes to take back control of his Brotherhood, and he seemingly does, except Deadpool's like, not today, son, and just shoots him. But then he stops the bullets? Like, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, with his psychic shield.
Right? Like, how does he...
It's that weird
Jean
purple
did that.
psychic stuff that he uses in the Evolution. When he's got, like, sword arms.
But this version of Xavier is weird because he does kind of have, like, telekinetic powers.
I took that
Sort
as
of.
Jean stopping those bullets.
You thought Jean stopped him?
They were pink, and he looked scared as looking at the bullets, and she said, this is the part where you stop and beg for forgiveness. Whereas if he was in power...
Oh, I got you. But this is what doesn't make sense, is that she was just in the middle trying to kill the other X-Men. Which, by the way, you see, like, the X-Men, like, fighting each other. And who is Warren fighting? Like, there's a guy who's like, who's that guy? Like who is that guy? That is like...
Yeah, I thought that
nobody.
too.
That's nobody. There's literally nobody in the school.
He's just looking right in front of him.
Like, it's some dude wearing all white in a hoodie.
You know what it is? Him and Beast. You remember A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Yeah.
You know how when there's a big bar fight and they don't want to actually be in the bar
No,
fight?
they pretend to fight.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Is they're just doing fake punches at each other so people think they're actually fighting.
Yeah, but I mean, who's the character? It's not Beast.
I didn't notice anybody either. I don't know who that guy is.
It's just really weird. It's just a random figure.
Right before this, though, X-23, she was about to kill Xavier after she stabbed him. She's like, oh, if you guys are cool, I'm about to kill this dude right in front of you. And Raze was like, I got a problem with that. And they fought, and then I don't know if it was Kitty, but somebody was about to stop the fight. And I like that Cyclops like, nah, she has that fight.
Yeah, because it was Jean. He's like, no, you focus on Xavier. She's all psionic, and it's like, we gotta make sure that the fucking psychic dude is fucked.
But I like that confidence in X-23 because she has beat Wolverine himself a couple times. So it's like,
yeah,
she's got that shit.
But also,
how are you gonna make sure he's fucked? He can only come when his mom dies.
But he also he knows to trust Laura, like that she's super skilled. I mean, he specifically wanted her on X-Force because of how good she was.
Yeah, it gets downplayed a lot, but
yeah,
she's got that shit.
Well, I think his relationship with most of the X-Men get downplayed when it's like, you know, he knows all of them pretty fucking well, and the only one you get that sense of is like during this time is Emma and Magic. Like they're the only ones who seem to remember like this dude was calling all the shots pretty right for like a long ass time and kept us alive, and you know,
Kitty seems to go back and forth on it where she's like, you got this, to like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you trying to fuck that girl. That's why you're Scott Summers, the best. Big brother. But we find out a week before, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Got her fingers in his head.
Yeah, that was weird. Almost as if two different people wrote it.
It was the same guy.
I know.
It's all Bendis.
It's weird.
He doesn't even know if Xavier is or isn't Xavier's dad. But spoilers.
One of those.
It is, because he decides later. Like, no, he is.
What, the dad or the...
His dad.
So Legion's his brother.
Yeah. Although I didn't even think of Legion, that like, oh, it'd be cool if like Legion was his dad and he had like a whole extra set of powers or something, but...
Wolverine at this point has like 6 kids and has never gotten anybody pregnant.
I'm sure he got, what's-her-face pregnant? Mystique?
Yeah, but it's all like future him. He still hasn't done it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Decan, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that
it was a Japanese
we're missing
lady,
a book
and
where he just goes,
bangs hella Japanese women.
Mm-hmm.
I just assume
like
that that we're missing a book where he just goes to every country banging people like he's the Spanish.
Like he's the Spanish?
Yeah.
He's Genghis Cum.
I would have said Genghis Dong.
So Deadpool shoots at Xavier, and I can see that. I can see Jean stopping it. Just, it's weird that unless it's implied that just shooting at him broke the hold, and then she instantaneously stopped the bullets, and then she's got the cuckoos behind her. Oh, and it's revealed that the Zorn gene isn't Jean at all. It's just nothing. Like, as soon as they're like, hey, Jean, you're being super quiet, and it takes off the helmet, and it's like, says nothing. It just evaporates. He just had a puppet Jean Zorn the whole time.
It makes a lot of things really weird.
It does.
Yeah,
the
a lot of
whole
the
like
past
her
stuff.
saying "I understand" and
The whole kissing Scott thing, it was Xavier.
So
You're a better kisser.
Andy was just like making out with the air.
No, it was Xavier.
well, because this is what
He's just got lipstick and a wig on.
Well, no, because I think that actually is Jean, right? But events have transpired since then that wouldn't have otherwise, but because the Battle of the Atom happened, right? Those future ones came back and interacted. Whatever it is, took Jean off course to not become Zorn. So for whatever reason, he just decided to make up a Zorn. Maybe so that there was visual continuity, but also what doesn't make sense in terms of visual continuity is if they went back, they gave a message to themselves in the past to do it over again, why is Xavier in a wheelchair?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Because I've said it before, he is just, it's inevitable for him So no matter where his life goes, he's going to end up in the wheelchair.
I like that, like, Xavier and Raze are like, okay, we got it. Second time, let's go. They go out the apartment. Xavier falls down the stairs.
Yeah, that was
It's
it.
like-
Immediately gets paralyzed.
I'm making a lot
in a
of
chair.
I'm making a lot of movie references today, but it's like that dude in Hot Tub Time Machine who they're just waiting for his arm to get cut off. So I assume like he's like how that guy was destined to have his arm cut off, like it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
When it comes to that fight, because it did not make sense for a minute, because Jean's too powerful for him, but then he made them all fight. I think it was kind of like a primal instinct, because you said like, "Oh, you guys fight."
Yeah.
But then he ended up losing control of them because they started talking, and then they basically just said no.
Angel's like, who's this guy?
So I think Jean ended up regaining control. So he didn't. It's not like he gave some sort of strict command. He
Right.
basically just like inflicted rage, and then Jean took back control. Because then Deadpool ends up shooting at him. So obviously they broke the control.
I took that as Deadpool, like, because he just started taking back control of the mind of the Brotherhood, and Deadpool's like, nah, son. Like, before you can get me, I'm gonna get you.
What's weird is Deadpool's supposed to be impervious to psychic attacks.
Well,
a lot of them
clearly
are.
not.
But he's supposed to, like, there's a whole thing of like how also how like you're not supposed to be able to control the Hulk's mind, because anybody who's got like dual personalities, you can't take over
Right.
like all the personalities.
Well, this is weird because it feels like he's retroactive. Well, it is retroactively doing this, but like it feels like he's trying to take back what he did. Like maybe there was some outrage over what happened to some characters later. Because in Battle of the Atom, they all seem like they're for the cause of the Brotherhood, right? The motivation for Beast is clearly defined because
After Dazzler died.
exactly, and he's like tired of this shit and he's gonna go dark now. Molly is like, I used to look up to you guys, but then you guys started doing some shit that I didn't agree with anymore. That sort of like, they all had their own personalities, and even Jean is like, you don't understand the future where I'm from. We do terrible things happen, and I'm like, you get this way naturally, and it's the way things, like, you need to go back to change what happens. But also we see that version of her is that version that what's his face, the Watcher shows Beast, where he's like, she becomes Magneto in Apocalypse, like in one.
Yeah, this kind of shit on the whole Battle of the Atom story.
Well, I would assume with Jean that does just happen to her, because like young Xavier couldn't take over older Jean.
Right. Which is why the idea that the Zorn was never Jean makes sense, like this time.
Yeah.
So maybe events in the past automatically change the future so that it's not as natural that they get together, but that Xavier has to force those exact characters to get together. And it's just not commented on.
It's a different branch.
Yeah. Basically. Like a different but similar branch.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Xavier, like, they're in his mind, and it's the Cuckoos and a psionic Jean, and they're getting ready to, like, destroy Xavier's mind, and he just disappears, and they all notice that he's just gone. But then someone points out, I think it's Iceman's, like, what are we going to do about Laura and her new, like, stabby buddy? And she's just stabbing the shit out of Raze the whole time. And I like that Scott's just like, step back. And then he shoots a giant optic blast at Raze, and then Iceman's like, and I got this. And he shoots a giant ice blast at Raze too. So Raze gets super fucked.
Well, because now there's only two bad guys, so they just gotta attack. They're
gets
still mad, so they gotta
gets
take their anger out.
He gets stabbed all the times, and then giant optic blast, and then giant ice blast. It's like the concurrence of those things is amazing. And they're like, what are we going to do with Xavier? He's gone. And someone's like, yeah, he does that. Like, that's his jam. And we see that before, too. That, like, it's a callback to when he did it with Mystique, but not really Mystique. And this time he remembered to make them not smell him. And then another reference to what they said before is that it's Magic who's like, all right, I'm going to throw some spell or whatever to find him. And it's funny because I like, Scott's like, look for blood. He's bleeding. You'll find him with blood. And like,
Yeah, she just showed up. She was kind of there, but not really.
who?
Magic.
She was there.
She
She was
was in
part
a
of the fight.
couple. Yeah, that's what I said. Like she was there in the fight scene. Like you see her, but she didn't actually play a part
No.
in the story.
Well, she was. I think the most relevant she had was when Triage got stabbed. She was the one trying to stop him from dying, and then she's like, he doesn't have a pulse. And that was
It's
all
one of
that
those
mattered.
things where it's like conveniently we're gonna not forget about this overpowered character during the fight.
No, she was. Mindy had her.
Oh, okay.
Remember? Because they were all in the cafeteria, and Mindy showed up, and then they were all being psychically attacked. Because she was like, get control of yourself. And it's like, well, obviously, she can't. She's being controlled by someone else. Like, and also a hive mind.
So that's another
trapped with
person
them.
too. Another person who's had people have had problems getting in her brain, and then it's like, nope.
Magic? She's so fucking dope, man.
So yeah, the reason why I brought it up is because Magic shows up with the horns. Like I found Xavier,
Yeah. Well,
which
badass, man.
yeah, it's always dope.
It just looks dope, but she has horns. And yeah, they go out, and he's all bleeding in the snow because he's stabbed.
He's sleeping.
Well,
Sleep.
There's
You don't
a bear.
bleed when you sleep?
he forgot there was a bear out there.
They're just leaving him out for bear food.
I mean, you should have known. He read Warren's mind. And Warren was just thinking about that bear they saw. And, shit. Where are we?
Xavier.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Face down, ass up.
Right.
Conveniently.
Yeah.
So they're
Playing
like,
dead.
He's like, he passed out with his hands on his cheeks, spreading them open.
He's arched up.
He's like, oh.
I saw my brother do this. So they're ready to kill him, basically. And Scott's like, no, this is your lesson for today is mercy. Like, this is what sets us apart from them, is we don't do this part. But he's also thinking about, like, I think I killed his dad.
Already did this part.
Like, I killed his dad.
We don't kill Xavier's
anymore.
The one time.
No more times do
like,
we kill Xavier.
Yeah, it's old for him. He's like, been there.
I find it messed up, though, that young Xavier at one point says that, like, oh, you guys took my dad's legacy and turned it into your own thing and didn't even name the school after him. Like, you're attacking the wrong school.
Yeah, they named the school after him.
Yeah, those are the ones where they did name the school after him.
Yeah. And my dad, or maybe my grandpa, I don't know. So, like, what if he's like, and if it was my grandpa, I'm so sorry. This is kind of an overreaction, right? If it's my granddad.
Knowing Xavier, he's both.
Yeah. So, because even Gene's like, really? He tried to kill you. He came here to kill you. Like, you're just not going to kill him? It's like, no, I'm not going to kill him. And instead, Xavier and Raze get sent to the cage. And it's like S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are there, and they're briefing Maria Hill, like, yeah, they just dropped them off with mutant dampening collars, and they're like, don't take those collars off, whatever you do. And she's like, okay, then don't take the collars off. If the crazy-ass mutant X-Men show up and they say, these mutants don't take collars off of, you don't take collars off of.
So they're just, like, cool with the X-Men now?
No, they're not.
No.
Yeah, but, like,
That's why she calls them crazy-ass.
they still seem, like, way too relaxed. Like,
I think it's more like,
oh, we're not doing that anymore. I mean, like, fuck them, but we're not doing that.
well, they're dealing with the fact that they just kind of released Sentinels on a school. So, you know, tail between their legs moment. And just before this, too, before I forget, the other X-Men, well, the former Brotherhood people, they get sent back to their future. And before they do, older Beast goes to younger Beast and he's like, fucking fix this, man. I tried my entire lifetime and I couldn't come up with an answer. So you now? Something, like, I hope something jarred loose or inspired you in a different way or whatever in this timeline. Find a way to send your guys selves back, because this is all fucked and people are going to blame you, and they're right.
I did love that where he's like, hey, man, in your life, a lot of people are going to blame you for stuff that happens, and you should know it's your fault. It's totally your fault.
But even then, he doesn't take full responsibility. He's like, and some of it is your fault. Some of it.
Yeah.
Yours, not mine.
Most, like 60%, 100% of it's your fault.
I mean, there is that time, it hasn't happened to you yet, that a cosmic entity that just watches shit came down and told me to fuck off. So,
We might be kind of dickheads.
Yeah.
It's kind of the last thing he did before he died.
I like that he's thinking, like, I would give you my notes, but I wrote them on a chalkboard. So,
And my robot arms have them at home.
And honestly, I can't make heads or tails of them. I switched them all around, and they don't make any sense.
It's like I wrote them upside down. Who does that?
And on all of them, I just wrote Scott over and over again. Circle them all.
I see you got that far already.
Oh, you've already figured that part out?
They zoom into the chalkboard and all the arrows are actually penises.
I like the idea of, like, if you put his whole equation together, it spells out Scott and the numbers.
He's like, I got it. I was so close this whole time.
He's like, what does this mean?
That was his whole page, though. And that other issue is like just him and the younger him in the chalkboard and just going, what does it mean?
It's like dot artwork. It looks like dots, but then he backs up, and the whole chalkboard just says Scott.
And there's a sailboat.
But I got to point out, or this was pretty funny here, when Maria Hill has the Brotherhood, it's like, whoa, that guy looks a lot like Xavier. She was like, well, he is bald. Like, that's the only defining characteristic.
Yeah. And he's like, can I have a piece of paper? I gotta write.
He's also sitting down. Bald and sitting down. I only know one guy who's both those things.
Which, yeah, he's got no chair now, so he's fucked. He's just rolling around in that cell.
Because he can't make it.
Still crossed his legs.
He did that with his hands.
Somebody came in and moved him for him.
Like a marionette doll.
It's like, I think you look prettier like this.
He's got strings on him like he's in an NSYNC video.
Forgot they did that. Yeah, so he needs a piece of paper to write a note, and then it cuts to the future again after they say, and then if we fuck up, we could just tell ourselves now that we failed, and then there's a note that's passed under the door, and they're like, we done fucked up again.
How did he get that note out?
Right?
It doesn't make it. Did he hold on to it until somehow he escaped and then go do that? That doesn't make sense. They would want to at least see what he wrote.
None
on
of
a
it
piece
makes
of paper.
sense, because what happened to the previous versions of themselves? Neither of them died, right? But he just got crippled. But what happened to those guys if their past selves are still the ones that go back into the past for the quote-unquote second time? It's still the first time for them, because they're even reintroducing themselves to people they already fought.
Time travel is fucked up.
I'm just saying, there's now, when we get into the next thing we're going to cover, there's 3 copies of them, basically. They set up 3 copies of themselves.
I know what they're doing. They got a train going on themselves.
So,
I learned it from Beast.
Well, Xavier can only be a passenger on that train, because all he can do is sit down. So, cut to Laura and Warren. And Warren's all like, hey, you want to get out of here? And she's like, how are we going to do that? You're going to carry me and fly? And he makes a Superman movie reference. So the DC universe is in the Marvel universe as fake shit.
Well, yeah, Raze said his dad was Batman earlier in the book.
Yeah, they do that all the time, reference each other.
And then she's like, you're not going to carry me. And he's like, cool. 1 second. And then he comes back and he's got a motorcycle and he's like, now we're going to go? And she's like, yeah. Which seems dumber because she's behind him. She's just got those wings flapping in her face the entire time. And then Scott's like, that my motorcycle? Because, you know, that joke.
Yeah, but it's also ridiculous because they're on a fucking snowy mountain.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah,
here's
it's
this
cold.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's going to be cold.
Well, it's going to be cold. It's going to be slippery. They're going to fall into a fucking pine tree.
Also, his wings are going to, like, fucking parachute him off the back of the motorcycle.
He's flying with that motorcycle. That's what he's doing. He's like, I'm not carrying you. The motorcycle is.
I don't think he's strong enough to carry the motorcycle.
Probably not. You're right.
Yeah, he's got those bird bones.
Yeah, he does.
Also, like, what a shitty couple name. Like, because you know how they always do that thing where they like, combined your name into one thing, like Brangelina?
Yeah.
So they're either Lauren or Wara.
Yeah.
Can't. I tried. Can't come up with a good one.
No.
It's a shitty. So, yeah, that was...
X20 Lin.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some X stuff.
Yeah.
X-Birdie 3.
X20 Angel over here.
X-Birdie 3.
Nice.
It's bad either way. But yeah, that was part 6 of All New X-Men.
Was it?
Yes. Because I didn't label Trial of Jean Grey as All New X-Men.
And because we said so.
Okay.
Yeah, so our
It's trade 5 if you're picking up trades then.
so our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything is at Mex-Men Podcast.
And then stuff you can buy on TeePublic. The shirts, get them.
Other
Yeah.
stuff. Tapestries. Onesies.
Tapestries. That always makes me think of like drapes. And I just love that like someone like buys drapes for their windows.
Who buys?
That are,
I'm not even going to diss tapestry owners, sorry. Almost did it.
Who buys tapestries?
That's like guaranteeing nobody will ever buy one.
Upholstery? Like someone's getting like their couch refitted for upholstery and it's like our logo on the couch.
But you like hang it up.
There's no way anybody likes us enough to do that.
Yeah, buy a sticker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buy the stickers.
Yeah, we make no money off that. That helps a lot.
It does if they put them everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still a fan. Like, if you do, I'm a fan of the idea that if you want to make a 6-foot logo of our logo and do it out of stickers of our logo, then do that. Or buy that many of the stickers.
Put the sticker on a binder and then draw a heart on it with like a little arrow going through.
And the arrow's
Yeah.
penis.
All arrows are penises. Everybody knows
true.
that.
Yeah.
Do that joke where you pat somebody on the back. Good job. Good game. But you sticker on their back. Why not? Do it to your boss.
Only your boss. Only do it to bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the link to all that is in the show notes. And that's for today.